HARK, we are here. It is time for the first episode of Regroup phase in 2025. Jump to Lightspeed has had some interesting information over the winter break. Plus, we have a preview, which I'm not going to go over in this video. I'll actually go over all of the previews for this beginning new year starting next week. But we have art. We have a little bit of product information to go over. I hope you all had a fantastic holiday break. Lots of PQs happened. We'll talk a little bit about that in this episode. But we're going to get right off the bat here with some information about Set 4 itself and the Carbonite booster packs. So the first image we have here to work with is the faces of the Jump to Lightspeed booster packs that we're going to see in each box of Star Wars Unlimited Set 4 Jump to Lightspeed. We found out with the last set that the faces, the actual card pack faces, do not always correspond to leaders because Cody was not a leader in the last set, which we also kind of knew given the set 1 Chewie art was a unit, not a leader, but Chewie happened to be a leader. Whatever the case may be. We do have here R2-D2 inside of an X-Wing. This is likely going to be something associated with R2-D2 in Red 5. We have a Millennium Falcon version here. We know it is the one from the Galactic Civil War era because of the radar dish, also that TIE interceptor behind him. And then we have Poe Dameron, the pilot of all pilots. I'm actually super excited to see what he's going to do in this set and how he potentially interacts with cards like Black 1 from set 1, or maybe even a new version of Black 1 that benefits from Poe being piloted by it. We've seen the boss, we know the hunting aggressor, so there's not really too much to go over here. We do have some cards here that were on the back of, I believe, the pre-release booster, or this is on the information about the box itself. Regardless, we have a little bit of card art here. We also have a couple of things we can figure out based upon what we've seen here. So right off the bat, we have that previous art that we saw for the Millennium Falcon is for Gold Leader, just altered a little bit. So we have the Death Star 2 Battle of Endor, whatever you want to call it. A 6 cost of Vigilance, Heroism, Space Units. Really cool to see Gold Leader instead of Millennium Falcon specifically. I hope they do a lot of really cool name stuff with that. We do have a Cunning unit here for the Razor Crest. Love seeing that. We have an Aggression unit, but not just a unit. This is a leader unit, Major Von Reg from Star Wars Resistance. It is one of those upgrade pilots leaders, so that's pretty cool. We have the Starhawk here. If you haven't played Star Wars Squadrons, that game is absolutely incredible as a space sim for Star Wars games. Has a very fun story. And while the multiplayer is full of hyper sweats, being able to play through the storyline of this game was actually one of the more enjoyable experiences I had with the EA Star Wars games before Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor came out. Great ship. It's for the New Republic, so it's probably not going to have a Rebel keyword, but it is a big chunkin' ship, as you can see with that 9 health. And then our last character here, he is Lando Calrissian, who is a Vigilance Heroism leader. It does look like based here that we're probably going to see this red bar here leads me to believe that this is a Sentinel, and the pilot upgrade might give it Sentinel as well, because we do see with the thing here, it's probably going to have another box down there with the bonuses that it gets as a pilot leader. Nub in the corner here. Again, this specific leader probably pairs it very well with Gold Leader itself, because that was the ship he flew during the Death Star 2 attack, during the time period in which this character seems to take place. So that's really cool, some of the stuff coming out. Excited to see what the Razor Crest does. Very interested to see what Von Reg does. I hope it's a nice First Order style deck. But even if it's just villain space pilots that maybe can take the place of Jango Aggression and do Von Reg Cunning, that would be pretty cool too. Next up, we do have the back of one of the Spotlight decks. This is specifically the Han Solo one. Ready your resources and shoot from the hip with Han Solo in the Spotlight deck. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but it does give you full play sets of 4 cards exclusive to this product, along with damage counters, tokens, and a Jump to Lightspeed booster pack to help grow your collection, which is pretty cool. 50 card fixed deck, 1 base card, 1 leader card, 3 double-sided token cards, 1 punch sheet, and 1 booster pack. So you can see the Han leader. We know this Millennium Falcon. This is a Leia Organa in command that we don't know anything about. But she is a 3 cost. We have Cartel Turncoat, which is a reprint, and Greedo, which is also a reprint. So those will be added into this deck. And they chose Echo Base as the base for this deck. So it is going to be which we already knew with the Chewbacca, it is going to be a Cunning Command yellow-green deck inside here. You get all the cool stuff. It coming with a booster pack is actually pretty darn cool. I think that's definitely one of the better changes to the starters. I'm still disappointed that we're not going to have a starter product on the shelf, but as long as these decks are better than what the starter deck compositions were, I think these are going to be really good and are going to go like hotcakes, especially for people who are looking to just grab a deck off the shelf and jump right into the game, learn a little bit, and hopefully they can have a lot of fun with that. Han Solo, Boba Fett, great characters to choose for Spotlight, the first Spotlight decks. It'll be interesting to see what the Spotlight decks happen with the next 2 sets. But as it stands, the only new information here is the booster pack and the Leia Organa. And lastly, our big piece of information here is what the booster pack for Carbonite boosters actually contains. It gives us the exact layout of what the pack is going to look like. It also tells us a very specific piece of information towards the bottom here. So this Carbonite booster pack contains 16 cards, including approximately 1 hyperspace / showcase leader. So it does potentially have the ability to upgrade to a showcase, 6 premium foil cards, 1 foil rare or legendary, 1 prestige card. This is that new rarity they talked to us about earlier. 4 hyperspace cards, 1 hyperspace rare or legendary, and 2 hyperspace foil cards. No specific card rarity is guaranteed to exist within an individual pack, box, or case. So the stats that we got, the breakdown of like 1 legendary every 8 packs, 2 hyperspaces out of every 3 packs, 1 legendary hyperfoil every 50 packs, 1 showcase leader every 12 boxes, things like that. That's not here. Whatever shows up, shows up. There's no way to map it. Well, there might be a way to map this out, but there's no realistic way to map this out unless you're buying a vast amount of product for this. And what you get is what you get here. So you do get that hyperspace leader, which is awesome. It doesn't specifically say you get a hyperspace base. So I imagine that any of the hyperspace or foil bases that come in this would be, if there are any rare bases, that would be what happens, but potentially not, depending on if we get more rare bases in the set, which I think we will, given that they talked a little bit about bases having more health than the 30 health bases. So, but getting 6 premium foil cards and 1 guaranteed foil rare or legendary, 4 hyperspace cards, 1 guaranteed hyperspace rare or legendary, and then 2 hyperfoils right off the bat. This is the premium pack for collectors to be able to pick up to get those spicy treatments that they want for their cards. And for someone like me, it's not a huge thing. I definitely have been collecting treatments from the regular booster packs. I've got a bunch of play sets of different things in just like foil or hyperspace or hyperfoil. This will definitely help people finish out those master sets that they've been trying to collect them, or get the better treatments for things. They are going to be expensive right off the bat. From what I've been able to tell, the information that I have is that each booster is going to cost about $25, and a full box of them is going to cost anywhere between $280 and $300. So this is actually a product that I'm personally going to pass on a full box. I'd rather just have more boxes of the regular set, even though I am still limiting the amount of boxes I will be purchasing for this set, just because it's gotten way too expensive. I'm still going to get my 1 extra box for my collection, and then probably 2 boxes total after that to be able to open up some stuff on stream and then build from there. So, and then just get singles thereafter, right? But with something like this, I might buy a couple packs here and there, maybe a pack a week, something cool to just open while I'm at a store. This is something that I would definitely recommend collectors to be able to pick up, because if this does sell out or it is limited, if this sells better than they're expecting, then more of these types of product can be made, which does help some of these like premium foils or hyperspace cards get into the collections of other people who are looking for stuff cheaper, while the big dogs chase the hyperfoils, the showcases, and the prestige cards. So fun stuff here. Next up, we have art from Jump to Lightspeed. So over the holiday break, including all those things we just took a look at, we also got a bunch of pieces of art. And one of my favorite things about the pieces of art that we get is kind of speculating on what each thing potentially does. So we've got some fun stuff here. Let's take a look, starting with, we have Ahsoka here, and this is specifically from the Ahsoka TV series. I recognize the background of when she was trying to hunt down the information about Thrawn. She's got her 2 lightsabers, the white ones. It's a pretty cool representation of the character. Something I'm hoping we might be able to see is a Fulcrum Ahsoka with a Rebel tag and hopefully a Spectre tag, but probably not. But having this character, after having Morgan Elspeth and Sabine Wren from the Ahsoka show in the last set, is pretty cool. Hopefully we get a cool superpower attacker in terms of like a 5 or a 6 cost instead of like the 3 cost. Ahsoka is pretty good. Hopefully this Ahsoka can do something cool, because, you know, honestly, Ahsoka is cool. We have here an A-Wing versus a TIE Interceptor. The design of this A-Wing leads me to believe that it's a Resistance A-Wing. But this being a regular TIE Interceptor, it could be one of those weird time periods where it's just after Jedi, or it could even be during Jedi, since this kind of looks like an Endorish style location minus that mountain, but I don't know what the location is specifically. We'll probably find out eventually. A-Wing versus a TIE Interceptor. We know we're getting a lot of space units. This is probably a space event that could be something that allows you to take down a space unit, given that this is a TIE Interceptor chasing down the A-Wing. Who knows? Great art, fantastic art. A lot of this art that we've seen so far has been absolutely incredible. And because it's spaceships, it's kind of hard to get spaceships wrong unless you're just really bad. But everything I've seen so far with spaceships included has been really good. Next up, we have this B-Wing making its attack run on the, this is a light cruiser, I believe, something very similar to what Gideon used in The Mandalorian. You get to see the shield, awesome display of attack here. This could be something, bombing run is probably something I am kind of thinking of. You've got the proton missiles here, or torpedoes, whatever you specifically want to call them. Could be just concussion missiles. Who knows? Lots of cool stuff here with this B-Wing, though. We do have here an image that we saw 2 weeks ago, I believe. This is the Chimera blasting down on a Nebulon B frigate with 2 other Star Destroyers in the background. One interesting aspect about this card is it does represent Thrawn on his Chimera blowing up a Rebel ship. This actually could be a reprint of Overwhelming Barrage, but with different art. Or it could just be something Thrawn based, or it could be something Star Destroyer based, or it could be something Destroyed Rebel based. We don't really know for sure, but I think if I were to put some money on this, we could see reprints of cards we've seen before, but with new updated art, depending on how they want to continue moving things forward. This is kind of an Overwhelming Barrage situation where you've got the Chimera blasting this dude down with 2 other Star Destroyers in the background, and that is an overwhelming show of force, which is something that Thrawn likes to do a lot and would fit with the theme of the Chimera and the Empire as a whole, Imperial trait, so on and so forth. So could be an Overwhelming Barrage, could be a new version of Overwhelming Barrage that might be limited to Imperials. I think that would be pretty cool. Who knows exactly how this is going to end up, but this is great art. Next, we've seen this actually twice. It was part of the art stream from FFG, the last stream they did of the year, but they posted this art individually on social media as well. This is the Millennium Falcon being chased by First Order TIE Fighters. You know that they're First Order TIE Fighters because they got red in them. You also know that this is the sequel trilogy Millennium Falcon because of the radar dish being replaced after being destroyed during the Death Star 2 attack run. This is Chewie and Rey piloting the Millennium Falcon on crate. You can see the lift up of the salt above the ground here. I'm really hoping that this is a Millennium Falcon that is Rey coded. The fact that there potentially could be up to 3 or even 4 Millennium Falcons in this set is absolutely insane, including the 2 Millennium Falcons we already have from set 1 and set 2, and then the 2 Millennium Falcons we know from this set, which is just the heroism coded Millennium Falcon and then the Vigilance Gold Leader. We could have another Millennium Falcon in here, or this could just be an event. Something interesting to note, based upon the last image that we had, this could be an alternate art outmaneuver as well, because this is clearly the Millennium Falcon showing the legend of itself, outmaneuvering the TIE fighters that are chasing it, that Kylo Ren sent all of their air support to chase after. Interesting card art here. I love it. Lots of cool things it could be. Next up, obviously a character. This is Rio Durant from Solo, A Star Wars Story. The character was played by Jon Favreau, actually one of my favorite characters from that movie, even though he lasted for not a very long period of time. Excellent pilot, was able to pilot that AT hauler for as long as he was until he got shot, which sucks, but cool character, species that we hadn't seen too much of before. I'm hoping he does some cool stuff. Next up, we have the TIE bombers here. This is another bombing run-esque type thing. The detail on the environments doesn't really give us too much information, but this could either be an individual TIE bomber event or an event that deals with bombing runs, or it could be a TIE bomber squadron, because we know squadrons are things that do exist since we have the Squadron of Vultures from the Set 3 Twilight of the Republic. So lots of cool things here with the TIE bombers. TIE bombers are super fun. They're tanks in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes for some random reason, but being able to pilot one of these in Star Wars Galaxies and doing bombing runs on gunboats and corvettes and stuff like that has always been something super fun. So hopefully they get their cool representation as the big butt bombers that we know that they are. And our last image here is, of course, Y-Wings, specifically, I believe they're yellow, so they could just be gold, but I'm pretty sure these are Gray Squadron Y-Wings, just with the yellow left over from other attacks. Over the Death Star 2 attack during the Battle of Endor, Cool art here. Again, could be a squadron, could be an individual ship, could be an event. We're not entirely sure. I've made some predictions before on some of these things that haven't been too accurate, but more ships. I love the fact that we're getting a bunch of spaceships. And we already know that Django does really pull off a spaceship deck style, even though it is just a bunch of random ships, as opposed to a focused strategy and a focused theme of ships. But hopefully Jump to Lightspeed does give us the opportunity to run Rebel spaceship decks, Imperial spaceship decks, Resistance spaceship decks, First Order spaceship decks. Spaceships gotta go to space. Space gotta go to space, right? I love it. I love the art. It's fantastic. Really good. I still think my favorite piece of art that we've seen so far is this one right here because of what it could represent. Y'all know I'm a big Rey fan. Millennium Falcon's actually a crazy cool ship, even though I like the YT-2400 series better. But the Falcon is the Falcon. It's like one of the most iconic ships in the entirety of Star Wars. Cool stuff, regardless. Art, gonna art, and this is pretty dang good art. And that is all she wrote for this week. Like I said, there was a preview that was previewed the day I recorded this, which was Monday the 6th. This comes out on Tuesday the 7th. We're not going to go over that this week because we'll have that filed into any other previews we get should there be a video next week, which there should be some fun stuff. I didn't go over the PQ stuff just because that's probably a different video. There's a lot of other creators that have put out videos about PQs. You can find them anywhere and everywhere. Check out the Star Wars Unlimited Discord. They post their videos in the video channels at all times, much like I do. You could also find them all across social media in the different areas that they do, or you could just look up PQ results on this here YouTube platform. That's it for me. My holiday was interesting. I hope your holiday was fantastic. I'm still a little bummed about the game, but seeing the art for JTL has me really pumped for what potentially could be coming from the set. More previews are probably going to pump me right back up, much like they have for every other set that we've had for Star Wars Unlimited. So I'm really excited to get my hands on Jump to Lightspeed and the space stuff and really try to get nose to the grindstone and have no interruptions. The set coming out in March is going to be really good because that's going to give us March, April, May, and June, leading right up to the Galactic Championship in July, at the end of July, with potentially a new set right in hand. But those 4 months of having JTL is going to be a really fun and interesting point of view for me, because that's where I played most of my gameplay this last year in 2024 with Spark of Rebellion until people wanted the next set, which, you know, happens. Card games, that's what they do. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, hope you had a fantastic holiday. Thank you very much for jumping in and watching this video. Make sure to like and comment on the video. Let me know what your favorite piece of art that you've seen so far, or what ship you're expecting to see in Jump to Lightspeed. Whether it's canon or Legends, doesn't matter. Let me know. Cool stuff in the comments below. It helps out the algorithm. Subscribe to the Star Wars Unlimited channel for all of your Star Wars Unlimited needs. I may do a roundup of PQ season once it winds down. We do have, I think, 3 more weeks total. The meta is very healthy right now. A lot of representation of decks, a lot of different deck builders out there really making their mark on the game itself now that Boba Fett is no longer involved. And it's not the Django Tarkin Town Terror that everybody thought it was going to be right at the beginning with those early showdowns and 1Ks. So fun stuff all around. Thank you very much, everybody. I've said it for like the 4th or 5th time, but I really do mean it. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you all in the next one, and I will see you in Lightspeed.